gonna shine when the light grows dim. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. 'Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. 'Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like
Welcome back, everyone, to Fear of a Flat Planet. I'm Liam Brearley, and with me today is Mr. Jack Collins. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Liam?
I'm good, man. How was your summer? How was everything? How was the off season?
It was pretty interesting. Like a lot different than previous years with COVID and everything, kind of being stuck in isolation. But it was nice to hang out with family, and I guess since we're traveling all year, it's kind of you don't really get to spend a lot of time with family, so it was, I don't know, that was a positive, I guess.
You're on the national pipe team now,
Yeah.
correct? Okay. I want to know how you first got into snowboarding and your whole story up until now, basically.
Okay. I guess it starts pretty young. My parents they were both into snowboarding. They both competed. My mom still actually teaches. And then, so it was kind of a family thing. And they started me out at like 3 years old. They would put,
Okay.
yeah. So I started at a hill near Calgary. It's called Fortress, but it's no longer open. So that's where my parents used to ride and stuff. So they brought me up there, and it was hard to find equipment still, even when I was younger, for my size. For 3 years old at that time, I guess it was hard to find. So my mom ended up like shoving gloves in my bindings and kind of finding some workarounds to get me going. Competition, I think it started when I was about maybe, I want to say like 8, I think maybe even younger. But we had these grassroots events at COP called the RBC Riders. So it was a pretty cool transition into snowboarding, because it was they were like border cross races, but you went like one at a time, and then they had like rails and jumps and stuff. And so yeah, so you'd or not rails, but like boxes, since we're little kids, and they're all like ride on stuff. But if you hit, you could go around the features, but if you hit the features, you'd get seconds off of your time. So I don't know, it was like a cool way of incorporating all different like aspects of snowboarding with like racing and park and everything.
That's actually sick. I kind of want to do that.
I think I was like doing slope and pipe for 3 years on academy, and then on the last 2 years I switched over to the pipe team and went with Josh Duncan. And then I got on next gen team. So I was on next gen and then still on academy, and then we were kind of.
That brings us to present. You're on the national team. You're competing in World Cups, Rev Tours, everything like that. Basically, what I want to know are your goals for this season, like near future, and like goals for bigger competitions where you want to get to coming up.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a little bit interesting with like this season with COVID.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, it was I don't know, it was interesting to set goals, because you didn't really know what competitions were going to happen, or.
Yeah, exactly.
Last year I had an injury, so I was pretty much out for the whole injury. I broke my collarbone right at the beginning, and so I only got to snowboard like the last few months, and then COVID hit. Last few months of the season, and then COVID hit, so it was like kind of a game changer. So yeah, I'm just kind of trying to, like, at the beginning of the season, get back into it really, and get back to the level where I was, and then progress further, like higher level of result in World Cup competitions. Kind of get like top 20s, and progress towards qualifying for the Olympics. And then also just I'd like to learn some new tricks in the pipe for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I had a lot of time to think like last season and then also with COVID during the summer.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, a lot of time to scheme up what I want to do in the half pipe. Kind of
yeah,
create runs and like variety of tricks and I don't know, kind of looking at a lot more old school riding and old school half pipe riding, like to bring
Mhm.
that into the competition scene a little more. And I feel like it's progressing into or transitioning into that anyways, for sure. Like,
Yeah. I feel like that's a good thing to do. Bring back the roots in the
yeah, for sure.
competition, and I feel like that's happening in all aspects as of now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
injuries will do that to you, and COVID was almost the same because we were just stuck inside, squatted.
I know it's kind of surreal when you're like, you know, doing stuff all the time, always doing activities, always outside of the house and always
Hmm.
traveling, and then it's like you're stuck in this box.
Yeah.
Pretty
So
weird.
yeah. Okay. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is your gear. You're sponsored by Capita, correct?
Hmm. Yeah.
And stuff like that. Okay. When you're riding, do you like to switch it up and try different boards throughout like the season and stuff like that, or would you rather stick to one board that you know that you've been riding
Yeah.
and just like stay with that?
I don't really like to switch it up that much. Um, I kind of like to stick to what I know. I've always kind of been like that. So I've been riding like the same board for the last 3 seasons in the pipe. It's the
Okay.
Outsiders, Capita Outsiders, because it's like fully positive from tip to tail, except for like on the ends, there's a little bit of flat camber, which is like, it's already outside of the insert, so it doesn't really affect me. For rails and stuff like that, dude, though, I will definitely switch it up. Like I like to ride a softer
Mm-hmm.
board, obviously, and like something that's not fully stiff and cambered.
Wanted to know your likes and dislikes when it comes to like snowboarding as a whole or the culture that is snowboarding.
Um, I guess that's a broad topic, but
Yeah, it is. But I guess what I'm looking for is like something you really like about snowboarding. Like say
yeah,
like how we're all like a family. Like it's not as much rivalry as like other sports. It's like something that I like, and then as well as like a pet peeve in snowboarding, whether
okay,
that be something to do with competitions or something like that.
yeah. I guess yeah, that's so true. Like I do really like the whole community around snowboarding. Like it does feel like a family and like you are
Yeah.
accepted no matter who you are or where you come from or like, what your background is.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like it's only getting more like that. Um, but I do think there is a lot of hate in snowboarding, like between like different,
Like individuals, yeah.
yeah, and different, what do you call it? Like slope style and, yeah,
Discipline.
different disciplines, like slopestyle and half pipe or like street snowboarding is kind of like
Yeah.
there is a little bit of hate there, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I
understand what
don't
you
really
mean.
like that. And then yeah, but I feel like for the most part, the snowboarding community is pretty positive. Everyone's pretty generous too. Like I'm so thankful. I wanted to mention earlier, like when you're talking about sponsors too, I'm so thankful for like my sponsors for Kingpin and they help me out so much and it's like it's kind of it's crazy to think sometimes like take a step back and be like holy I'm getting product for just snowboarding like
Yeah,
that's
man.
pretty cool.
That's a crazy feeling, and it's good to hear coming from you. Um, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is we've been talking about getting to these, like getting better results in World Cups. You want to qualify for the Olympics. You're already on the national team, but how are you training yourself or getting yourself ready to get to that next level?
um well, I'm taking like the steps that Canada Snowboard has to offer for sure. Like we work in the gym with
Yeah.
our trainer with Drew, um
Hmm.
and like spend a lot of time doing um other exercises and like rehab outside of that. And then like personally, I do a lot of yoga, and then just doing other activities too, like that I guess are related to snowboarding, which is like I'd say skateboarding obviously is the
Yeah.
and then biking too. Like yeah, this summer like with COVID, I kind of got into mountain biking a lot, and like I don't know it. I never I've never experienced like when you're riding like snowboarding and that feeling of like just riding through the trees and just getting in that flow state and getting connected and like linking turns and stuff like that. I kind of discovered that within biking too. So kind of found that it feels like this it's a similar feeling for sure, riding down and like going through trails and stuff like that super fast, and just like you can get into a flow state and feel like that. So I don't know, obviously working in the gym and training and doing the things you can do to help prevent injury and stay strong. And then a lot of mental work with like I work with Christy, our sports psych, a lot, and try to journal and do different like meditation and stuff like that. And I like to read about like I guess the psychology behind like like visualization and meditation and stuff like that. And then, yeah, I think just doing those extracurricular activities outside of snowboarding really helps for sure. It creates like a diverse rider, I think.
Yeah, man, that's cool and super interesting. I actually haven't heard a lot of people say that they've been working with that like meditation stuff, and especially snowboarders, maybe in other sports.
Mhm.
But I think it's cool to be able to do that and keep that going for you in your career and helping you get to that next level. You mentioned journaling.
Yeah.
So, what do you do you have like different journals? What do you use them for?
Like I try to journal every day. I'll try to like kind of just reflect on like the day, or if I'm like I don't know, bummed on something or mad about something, I feel like it helps to journal it out, and like you can kind of reflect on it, and yeah, I guess realize when you're making some wrong choices, or you know, I don't know. It's just like I think it helps a lot for being able to reflect and change things if you need to.
Yeah, man, that's sick.
Kind of stay on
That's
top
cool
of
to
it.
hear
and-
too.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, maybe I should try that.
yeah. I don't know. Like if you feel like you have to get something out, I feel like journaling is like the best way to do it for sure. Best way to express that energy you have.
Oh, man, that's cool. Okay, I won't keep you too much longer. I know you got some stuff to go do, but you grew up in Alberta, snowboarding, obviously.
Yeah.
If you or if anyone listening wants to go help out Alberta Snowboard or the main team, the national team, you can go to canadasnowboard.ca. They have tons of merch as well as the COVID masks, which is the best seller this year on that website. You can also donate there, and when you donate, you can choose where your money goes, so you can directly support Alberta Snowboard or the main national team like you and all the other boys. Again, thank you to Canada Snowboard. Thank you to Skull Candy for sponsoring this podcast, and thank you, Jack, for joining me today.